Hello everybody, welcome back or welcome to It's a Small Vlog, and today I am here at the Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow, also known as EPCOT, my personal favorite park here at Walt Disney World, and we are here for an EPCOT specific construction update. Now, I haven't covered construction here at EPCOT in general since like October, but EPCOT specifically, just a video dedicated to EPCOT, it has been since November of 2023, and that was at the very end of the EPCOT overhaul. And everything that we're going to be talking about in this video is basically post EPCOT overhaul. Everything that we're going to be talking about is kind of on the short term of things. Everything here is essentially going to be debuting within the next few months in the year of 2025. Nothing that we're going to be discussing today bleeds outside of this year, at least not yet. Most of the stuff here is going to be on the short term end, and again, there's nothing really major happening here, but there's a lot of small pockets of news, stuff that I haven't covered in a while, and stuff that's new that I want to start covering that we're going to talk about today. And I thought that doing a video here, you know, kind of made a lot of sense. If you've watched my previous videos back in late January, I was over at Hollywood Studios, did a Hollywood Studios specific construction video, and then most recently I was over at Magic Kingdom and did a very lengthy update there. So we're just going to continue to hop around all of the parks. Obviously EPCOT is this video, and of course the next one will be Animal Kingdom. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. We have a lot to cover today, and the first thing that we have to talk about is actually Spaceship Earth right behind me. So let's get straight into it. As we begin today's news coverage, what we have to talk about regarding Spaceship Earth doesn't necessarily pertain to the attraction itself, but an empty space behind it in the newly reimagined World Celebration Gardens. Back in August at the 2024 D23 Expo, Disney made the surprise announcement that a new Spaceship Earth themed bar and lounge will be taking over the former sponsor lounge right behind Spaceship Earth as it becomes a new public space for guests. With this announcement, Disney revealed this singular piece of concept art that depicts what the inside of the lounge will soon look like. Quote, "Paying tribute to the most beautiful EPCOT icon, our favorite geodesic sphere will welcome a new elevated and elegant lounge that will honor the intertwined history of Spaceship Earth and EPCOT itself. This extraordinary, intimate setting is set to celebrate the legacy of the icon's past while admiring its future. Guests will take in breathtaking views of the park from an entirely new angle while being inspired by the stories and legacy of this iconic structure. With sweeping views of the World Celebration Gardens and a unique perspective of the nightly fireworks, this secluded retreat invites you to raise a toast to the enduring spirit of EPCOT." End quote. Now, ever since I last covered this announcement back in August, Disney has provided us with an opening time frame of when the new space will open, which is scheduled to be just before summer begins in late spring, which most likely means around Memorial Day weekend. As far as visual work goes, there's not really a ton that we can see other than a few new walls that were set up last month in early January. The construction walls are located on the east side of Spaceship Earth, facing Connections Cafe and Eatery, indicating that this will most likely be the entrance to the lounge. Because of the placement of these construction walls, the eastern exit inside Project Tomorrow is now closed, redirecting guests back outside to the west exit instead. Besides that, it looks like Project Tomorrow is largely unaffected by the addition of this new lounge, and that's pretty much all the latest news we have to work with for now. I'd expect to hear an official opening date of the lounge sometime in the next month or two, alongside some of the other additions coming to Walt Disney World later this year, so make sure to keep your eyes and ears peeled. I don't know about you, but I think this is going to be a great new addition to the center of EPCOT and a unique way to reimagine this otherwise unutilized space. That's all for now behind Spaceship Earth, as we head on over to World Discovery and take a look at what's going on at Test Track. Also, really quick, I almost forgot, there's a new annual pass holder magnet that you can pick up at the Creation Shop. All right, magnet in hand, it is Ray the Firefly from Princess and the Frog. Super duper cute. They've had this for like almost a month now. I just haven't gotten it yet. So if you haven't gotten yours yet, be sure to do so. You have until February 28th to get your hands on your Ray the Firefly pass holder magnet. Just wanted to make a quick note of that. All right, everybody. Well, now we are over here in World Discovery. We have made it over to the former Test Track 2.0, again, as it currently is undergoing its big reimagining into Test Track 3.0. And while we don't really have a ton of new details in the past couple of months about this reimagining, we have seen quite a bit of exterior work happen on the outside of the attraction, which is promising. Taking a look at the test track construction progress from this elevated view above the monorail, work has accelerated, no pun intended, on what we see visually happening outside the attraction entrance. Crews have been hard at work the past few months installing the new sleek canopy structure that will greet guests just before entering the attraction building. Ever since my last update here back in October, the canopy still had yet to be installed as crews prepped to pour the foundation, but all of that has since been complete. However, even though the entirety of the canopy has been installed, there's still quite a bit of scaffolding surrounding the entrance. By the looks of it, I believe workers are doing some electrical work underneath the roof of the canopy, as according to official concept art, it looks like there will be a cool lighting package underneath the entrance. As far as painting goes, I don't think much will be happening there, as the canopy retains the silver steel color that it already has. But that seems to be the majority of the exterior work happening outside Test Track, and similarly to the Spaceship Earth Lounge, all we can do is assume that work is progressing nicely on the inside. Although it is noteworthy to mention that back in December, Disney provided us with an opening season for the reimagined attraction. Test Track 3.0 will officially reopen in late summer of 2025, which probably means sometime in the month of August. Even though the opening date is slightly later than expected, Disney shared that ride testing with the redesigned vehicles is set to occur very soon, which is great news. Another final and interesting detail is that unlike Test Track 2.0, Test Track 3.0 will reopen under its former sponsorship of General Motors instead of Chevrolet, which I find interesting. For context, the original World of Motion attraction before Test Track was presented by General Motors, aka the parent company of Chevrolet. When the original Test Track debuted in the 1990s, the attraction still continued with its GM sponsorship, but was then changed to Chevrolet specifically with the debut of Test Track 2.0 back in 2012. And now, for whatever reason, the third iteration of the attraction will be reverting back to the General Motors sponsorship once again. Disney really isn't kidding when they say this new version of Test Track will be inspired by the former World of Motion, and honestly, I think it's great. As a diehard EPCOT fan, I'm really looking forward to this reimagined version of an already fan-favorite Disney attraction, and I can't wait to eventually experience it. Let me know what your thoughts are on everything happening here at Test Track in the comments below. All right, so really quick, I want to talk about something that's more short-term happening here at the park before we get into the news over at the World Showcase. So, as many of you know, we are nearing the end of the 2025 International Festival of the Arts, as it ends next Monday on February 24th. Now, obviously, as many of you know, after Festival of the Arts, the Flower and Garden Festival then begins, which is going to be running from March 5th to June 2nd. And obviously, because we are nearing the end of Festival of the Arts, there's a lot of things that Disney's going to be doing to prepare for Flower and Garden Festival. And the cool thing is that Flower and Garden Festival is actually going to be celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. So they're kind of hyping up this festival more so than they usually do. And I just want to take a quick moment to discuss all the new things that we can expect to occur during the 3-month-long festival. So, as the 2025 International Festival of the Arts comes to a close, Disney recently shared some new and exciting details as preparations are well underway for the 2025 EPCOT International Flower and Garden Festival. Flower and Garden is my personal favorite EPCOT festival, and what makes this year's event so special is that Disney will be celebrating its 30th anniversary. Flower and Garden Festival was actually EPCOT's original annual festival when it debuted back in 1995, which was then shortly followed by the extremely popular Food and Wine Festival just a few years later. This year's event will run for about 3 months, lasting from March 5th to June 2nd, and we have lots of new details for what we can expect. Aside from the typical food and merchandise, a new exhibit will debut inside Communicore Hall that will feature, quote, a new gallery that is larger than life. Guests can grab a bite at the Farmer's Feast and learn more about how Disney's horticulture team brings topiaries, flower towers, and more to the EPCOT International Flower and Garden Festival, end quote. Outside of Communicore Hall, another new noteworthy addition will be the continuation of the popular Butterfly Garden right between the Imagination Pavilion and the Land Pavilion, this year featuring a theme inspired by Inside Out. Heading past the Imagination Pavilion along the Rose Walk, a new playground for kids is being constructed in the Flex Space. Called the Play Along Bay Play Garden, the new nautical-themed area will be inspired by the resorts that make up the EPCOT resort area, particularly the Yacht and Beach Club. Additionally, the Yacht and Beach Club will also be the inspiration of 2 new food stands in the area, creatively called Yacht Grub and Beach Grub. The new outdoor kitchens will feature new seafood options and some other entrees and drinks as well. Hopefully that caught you up to speed on everything new you can expect to make up this year's Flower and Garden Festival as it celebrates its 30th anniversary. Next up on our list, heading over here to the World Showcase in the Mexico Pavilion, we have some more minor news to discuss. The Gran Fiesta tour starring the Three Caballeros boat ride is currently temporarily closed for refurbishment and has been since early January. It's unclear why the attraction is down for a refurb, but unlike some of the refurbishments currently happening over at the Magic Kingdom, this one is much shorter. In fact, the attraction is actually scheduled to reopen next month on March 15th, which is great news. Now, capturing footage of what's going on with this refurbishment is kind of difficult due to the low lighting environment inside the pyramid, but thanks to these recent photos from Blog Mickey, we can kind of get a small scope of the work currently underway inside. As you can see here, the ride has been completely drained of water and some small pockets of scaffolding have been set up throughout the first scene of the ride. What's most likely going on here is some typical maintenance work of the ride track, as the mechanics are exposed to water 24/7. Shifting gears to the exterior of the pavilion, and some other small sections of scaffolding have also been set up on the left-hand side. Now, it's unclear if this work on the outside has any correlation with what's happening on the inside, but it's just something to make note of. My guess is that some overnight repainting is taking place during the park closure, but I'm not 100% sure. Either way, just a quick update for you over here at the Mexico Pavilion, and now let's head on over to America's northern neighbor for our final EPCOT update. All right, everybody, and then for our final update here at EPCOT, we have some very interesting work happening right behind me at the main facade of the Canada Pavilion. And what I'm going to be talking about next is stuff that Disney themselves have not even confirmed, so it's kind of just like a little mystery project that's going on. So just kind of bear with me, take everything I'm going to say with a grain of salt, but either way, there is work that is actively happening on something that we got to talk about. So the work happening here at the Canada Pavilion is interesting because we don't have any concrete info to work off of about what's going on. According to permits, the mystery project happening here is fittingly titled Project Maple, as exterior and interior work are actively happening towards the bottom of the main facade in the Canada Pavilion. Again, there's been no official announcement by Disney, but the leading rumor is that a new bar of some sort is being constructed. Now, honestly, I personally wouldn't be surprised if this rumor is true, because this area of the Canada Pavilion is fairly quiet, and opening a new bar would definitely spark for some more foot traffic up in this area. As far as when work began on this project, late last summer, the structure just wrapped up with a full repainting, only for more heavy construction to then begin shortly after. Work is still actively happening, as you can see here, but it's nothing major. Whatever it is, the new bar is predicted to open sometime before the summer season, and I wouldn't be surprised if Disney was quietly aiming for a completion date of around the same time as the Spaceship Earth Lounge in late spring. Either way, some very interesting work is happening here at the Canada Pavilion, and I'm curious to see what exactly this new space eventually becomes. Well, everybody, that is going to wrap up this construction vlog here at EPCOT. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. It was kind of nice to be back here at this park, especially doing construction. You know, I mean, I've taken over a year off doing construction specifically at this park. All the construction that I've previously been covering at this park has always been part of bigger property-wide updates. So it's kind of nice to be back here doing EPCOT specific construction again, because honestly, I don't really know when the next one is going to be. Everything that we've talked about in this video is going to be debuting sometime later this year. So it honestly just kind of totally depends. But if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, turn those notifications on, check me out on Instagram as well. The link is down below. And what about you? How do you feel about the test track construction progress or the progress on the Spaceship Earth Lounge? What do you think's going on over at the Canada Pavilion? It's very, very interesting. Regardless, there's quite a few things happening here at EPCOT, and again, be sure to be on the lookout for a flower and garden vlog coming your way very, very soon when that starts in the next few weeks. But my name is Bobby. This has been It's a Small Vlog, your EPCOT February 2025 construction update. And with all that out of the way, have a magical day, everybody. Bye.